Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dave Nadler with the National Weather Service in Peachtree City, Atlanta, with your routine weekly briefing. Today is Thursday, August 10th, 2023, and we'll take a look at the expected weather for the next 5 to 7 days. Well, I think it goes without saying we've been in such an active pattern the last week that I think everyone's looking for a little break, and we probably will be seeing that over the next couple of days. Unfortunately, with the lessening of the storm threat, the heat will return by this weekend. So it kind of traded the active severe weather, heavy rainfall for heat. But I think everybody's looking for a little bit of a change at this point. So good news is we are going to be seeing that over the next couple of days after we get through the rest of today and tomorrow. And even the next couple of days, through tomorrow, we're not looking at anything really widespread significant that we've seen, over the last week or so. And then into the early part of next week, by next Tuesday or Wednesday, the longer range models are showing kind of a stronger front, if you will, approaching the area, bringing in some drier air and lessening the rain chances even more. So we'll see how that plays out as we head to the early part of next week. Again, well, to say we've been active over the last week or so would be an understatement. These are a map of our forecast area, showing you all the mainly severe thunderstorm warnings that have been issued since last Thursday, August 3rd. The green are verified warnings. The reds are warnings that we hadn't had a chance to verify or didn't get any information from. But overall, you could just see just about every square inch of our forecast area was pretty much covered by some sort of warning in the last week. 108 total severe warning or total warnings since last week, with 437 official storm reports being issued. So all those blue dots that you see are actual wind reports or either wind damage or strong wind reports that we entered in from the information that we found or we got from you all. So just to show you how big of a role the data collection that you all play to help us out in getting not only verifying warnings, but really getting a feel for some of these events and what they can do. Our verification percentage was at 80% for severes, and that's excellent, really, really good, with a 21.2 minute average lead time on all warnings, which is again excellent. And again, a lot of this is a testament to the information that we're getting back from you in real time. So thank you very much for just all the extra work in the post-event cleanup from the multiple events that we've had over the last 7 to 10 days. Here's the latest radar. Pretty quiet for the most part. We had a little line move through earlier today. That's now pushed into far parts of South Georgia, getting out of our forecast area. We have a few showers on the backside, moving into west central Georgia, and additional showers and a couple of storms back into northern Mississippi and northwest Alabama that could spark a few additional storms later on this afternoon into tonight across parts of North Georgia, but we're really not expecting any sort of severe threat. Just some locally heavy rainfall, maybe some occasional gusty winds, lightning. That's about it. So that's some good news. And just to piggyback on that, again, this is the Storm Prediction Center's outlook for the rest of today. Just a marginal risk over the areas that have seen that line kind of, and even this could be, will probably be updated to show more just general thunder through the afternoon into the evening hours. Now, looking ahead through the rest of tonight, overnight into tomorrow, with a couple of more waves moving across the area, we could see a few stronger storms develop later tonight into tomorrow and tomorrow afternoon. But again, we feel like the areas are going to be pretty localized and that get any sort of severe weather at this point through tomorrow. So that's good news. So don't expect this marginal risk to really shift a whole lot or change over the next couple of days. And looking ahead beyond tomorrow, their outlooks for severe weather remain very low at this time. So that's good news going through the next 4 to 7 days. Check back on Monday, especially when we get that front moving through by sometime early to middle part of next week. We could see, an increased risk of severe weather with it, but at this point, it's not looking like anything worth mentioning. Just something to check back on as we get through the weekend into the first part of next week. Rainfall through tomorrow afternoon, just looking at about a quarter to an inch across much of the area through tomorrow. Isolated higher amounts possible. Again, no major impacts. Localized nuisance flooding, street flooding possible, but we're not expecting anything, any flash flooding or any significant river or stream flooding over the next few days, thankfully. Temperatures, I mentioned that the heat does return by this weekend, so you're looking at expected high temperatures for Saturday and their heat indices that go along with it. So again, getting back into the 90s, mid to upper 90s for a good portion of our area with heat indices, with the humidity over 100 across many of these locations. Our heat advisory criteria is 105 to 109, so you can see for a good portion of central Georgia, we are going to be seeing that. So if we end up expanding or reissuing heat advisories for a portion of our area by Saturday and into Sunday, don't be surprised. Excessive heat warning is over 110 or equal to or over 110. So you can see by Sunday, we actually have a few areas that could be exceeding that. So we'll be looking into that for an excessive heat warning for parts of central Georgia by Sunday. Temperatures are warm looking into Monday. Mid to upper 90s again, with heat indices in the 100 to 110 range, isolated locations above 110 around Macon down to Dublin will definitely be the hotter areas as we go through the weekend and into the first part of next week. By Tuesday and Wednesday, things should cool off just a little bit as we start to see the effects of that front I was talking about earlier that hopefully will dry us out a little bit and cool us off. Now here are the temperature forecast highs and lows basically from today all the way through next Thursday for Athens, Atlanta, Columbus, and Macon, and Rome. And you can see Saturday, Sunday, Monday into Tuesday, especially for Columbus and Macon, the heat kind of continues for parts of central Georgia really through the next 6-7 days once it returns by this weekend. But for Athens and Atlanta and Rome and parts of North Georgia, we could see a nice break in some of the heat by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. 6 to 10 day outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. You can see where the threat for above normal temperatures is going to exist. The real high probabilities from the Pacific Northwest all the way across the Texas and Southern Plains and down toward the Southeast Gulf Coast region. Whereas the cooler than normal temperatures are going to be up in the far part of the United States, Montana, North Dakota, northern Minnesota. Looking at the precipitation outlook, we are not, after today, we are expecting at least a small risk or a higher probability of seeing below normal precipitation for the period of next week, 6 to 10 days. So after we get through this weekend, it looks like it could dry out, which will be nice for the first part or the middle part of next week. So this is the 6 to 10 day temperature and precipitation outlook basically beginning next week. Latest drought conditions, we do have a small portion of west central Georgia and even northeast Georgia in a D0 right now for abnormally dry conditions. With the rainfall this was issued just a couple of days ago, is official today. With the rainfall that we've seen over the last few days, some of this may change a little bit as we head into next week, but if we dry out after this weekend, there's certainly a risk where the D0 could even expand a little bit if we see 3, 4, 5 days of dry weather through next week. So, but here's where we stand. Nothing major to be concerned about, but definitely seeing a few areas where we have introduced the D0 for parts of west central and northeast Georgia. Good news with the tropics. There are, over the next 7 days, the Hurricane Center is not expecting any sort of significant or reasonable development. Certainly this can change from one day to the next, but as it stands today, we are not expecting, and the Hurricane Center is not expecting any tropical development over the next 7 days. So that's certainly good news. And again, just sort of recapping the highlights after today and tomorrow, we're looking at a slight reprieve in the active pattern we've seen But we still could see isolated to scattered diurnally driven storms each afternoon and evening through the weekend and into the first part of next week before we could get some drier air moving in from the northwest by next Tuesday and Wednesday. The heat does return this weekend. That'll probably be the main story, with temperatures running about 5 to 10 degrees above normal and heat indices certainly approaching heat advisory criteria for a good portion of central Georgia by Saturday. We could even be looking at a few areas seeing excessive heat warning heat indices where we are at or above 110 degrees by this weekend and into next Monday. So be prepared for that. I know it's summertime still, but we've been in this active severe weather rainfall pattern that we really haven't seen the excessive heat in about a week to 10 days. So stay safe out there. That kind of concludes the routine briefing for today. See the various ways you can reach out to us. This briefing will be recorded and shared on our YouTube channel. And I hope that, again, thank you to everyone that's helped us out over the last week with all the active storm events that we've seen. We hope you all find a little bit of time to relax a little bit and stay safe out there. Thanks, and have a good rest of the day and a great weekend.